What if I told you that by the year 2030, over 300 million jobs could vanish? That's not a movie plot or alarmist clickbait. It's the kind of prediction experts are warning about. But here's the twist. This isn't just the end of work as we know it. It might be the beginning of something far greater. Right now, automation and artificial intelligence are quietly rewriting the rules of who does what. Look around. Self-checkout lanes quietly replace cashiers. Algorithms read medical scans faster than many humans, and software drafts contracts, analyzes legal cases, even writes code. Trucks are beginning to drive themselves. Customer support is being handled by increasingly sophisticated chat systems. Roles that once required human presence are being reduced to lines of code, to patterns recognized and repeated. For millions, that sounds terrifying. A future where livelihoods evaporate and entire industries collapse overnight. Imagine a small town whose economy was built around a single factory. Now imagine that factory shutters because machines can do the same work faster and cheaper. Think about teachers overwhelmed by large classes, their lessons standardized into AI-driven platforms. Picture journalists replaced by tools that can produce news summaries in seconds. Families lose income, local shops close, communities fray. History gives us a clear pattern. When waves of technology sweep through, people suffer before systems reorganize. The speed of change this time is the real wild card. The Industrial Revolution unfolded over decades. The digital revolution has compressed enormous shifts into years. AI threatens to compress transformation into months. And yet, to see only loss is to miss half the story. Because while AI will eliminate many jobs, it will also create entirely new ones. Roles that today look strange or do not exist at all. 2 decades ago, few people could name a social media manager or an app developer. Today, these are ubiquitous careers. The emerging economy will demand new skills and invent new professions. Some will be obvious: technicians to maintain autonomous systems, analysts who interpret AI decisions, engineers who design human-centered robots. Others will be more surprising: professions that blend empathy with technology, creativity with ethics. Picture AI ethicists, specialists responsible for ensuring machine decisions align with human values. They will debate, define, and enforce standards that prevent bias and harm. Imagine virtual architects, designers who build immersive digital spaces where millions will meet, work, and learn. These architects will craft environments with emotional intelligence, places optimized not only for function, but for psychological well-being. Think of longevity coaches and biointegration consultants, experts who help people use biotech and health tech responsibly to extend healthy years. Consider AI auditors who verify the fairness and transparency of automated systems that determine who gets a loan, who receives a job interview, or who is accepted into a university. Beyond professional titles, the nature of work itself will change. Repetitive, dangerous, and soul-draining tasks are the first to go. Machines excel at repetition and scale. They do not grow tired, they do not need breaks, and they can be replicated almost infinitely. That means humans will be freed, potentially, to focus on higher-value tasks: creativity, strategy, social connection, and complex problem-solving. The critical shift is from performing tasks to orchestrating systems. Where once we were the instruments of production, we will increasingly be the conductors. But this transition will not be automatic or fair. Without intentional policies, many people will be left behind. Retraining programs that are underfunded or misaligned with real industry demand will fail. Education systems designed for a prior century will not suddenly teach the skills needed to thrive in an AI-driven economy. We must design pathways that enable workers to move from declining roles into emerging opportunities. That means accessible, modular training, short courses that teach practical, job-ready skills, apprenticeships that pair learners with real projects, and social safety nets that allow risk-taking and transitions without catastrophe. There is also a moral dimension. Technology does not exist in a vacuum. It is embedded in social structures and power relations. If the gains from AI are hoarded, inequality will widen. If corporations automate without responsibility, communities will erode. But if we design systems that share productivity gains broadly, We can imagine a future where basic needs are easier to meet and where people spend more time on meaningful pursuits. Imagine a world in which basic services are cheaper and more accessible because machines produce them more efficiently. Healthcare screenings available at lower cost, personalized education tailored to each child's learning pace, clean energy systems managed by predictive AI that cut waste and emissions. So where does that leave the ordinary person watching this now? The first step is mindset. Fear is natural, but panic is paralyzing. Those who adapt fastest are not always the most technically brilliant. They are often the most curious and resilient. Curiosity leads to learning. Resilience leads to pivoting. That's why lifelong learning has to become more than a buzzword. It must be practical and continuous. Invest time in understanding how the tools in your field are changing. Learn to work alongside AI rather than be replaced by it. Develop complementary skills, emotional intelligence, complex problem solving, systems thinking, and the ability to learn new tools quickly. So yes, the future will look nothing like today. Some will be left behind, and some will thrive. The outcome is not preordained. It is shaped by choices we make now, in classrooms, boardrooms, parliaments, and homes. The radical possibility is this: if guided well, AI could free humanity from the most tedious parts of work and unlock time for compassion, creativity, and deeper problem solving. Imagine communities where people volunteer, create art, research climate solutions, teach, and care for one another. Not because they cannot work, but because work has changed shape. The decisive question isn't whether machines will get smarter, they will. The question is whether we will get wiser. Will we use our intelligence to design a future where technology amplifies human dignity rather than undermines it? Will we insist on systems that are fair, transparent, and accessible? Will we invest in people as much as we invest in code? So I'll ask you now, will you adapt or will you resist? What will you do in the next year to prepare for the world AI is shaping? Share your thoughts below. Tell us what skills you'd love to learn, what worries you most, and what excites you about this future. The conversation we start today will be the blueprint for how we all live tomorrow. Let's take a closer look at education, because this may be the most powerful way AI reshapes society. For over a century, schools have relied on one-size-fits-all teaching. A single teacher, a fixed pace, and a curriculum designed for the average student. But the truth is, there is no average student. Each child learns differently, at different speeds, with unique strengths and weaknesses. AI is changing that. Imagine a classroom where every student has access to an intelligent tutor, one that adapts instantly to how they learn. Struggle with math? The AI slows down, explains differently, and gives you practice until you master it. Excelling in science? It accelerates, feeding you advanced concepts that keep you challenged. For the first time in history, personalized education could be accessible to millions, not just the wealthy. But here lies the risk. If only rich schools or wealthy families can afford these AI tutors, the education gap will widen dramatically. Entire generations could be divided into those who grew up with cutting-edge learning tools and those who were left behind. That's why equitable access will matter as much as the technology itself. Healthcare tells a similar story. Today, doctors are often overwhelmed. Wait times are long, errors happen, and access to specialists is uneven. But AI systems can analyze medical scans faster and often more accurately than human radiologists. Predictive models can spot early signs of disease that humans might overlook. Remote monitoring devices can send data to AI systems that alert patients before problems escalate. This could transform healthcare from reactive treatment to proactive prevention. Now imagine this applied globally. Rural clinics in developing countries could gain diagnostic power equal to the best hospitals. Life-saving interventions could be delivered earlier and cheaper. But again, equity matters. If AI-driven healthcare becomes a privilege of the rich, the gap between those who live long, healthy lives and those who don't will only widen. So what about you? How do you personally prepare for this world? The answer is not to become a computer scientist or AI engineer overnight, though those are valuable paths. The real answer is to become adaptable, to recognize that your ability to learn, unlearn, and relearn will be more important than any single degree. Start by asking, what parts of your job are vulnerable to automation? And then ask, What parts of your humanity are irreplaceable? Lean into creativity, empathy, complex judgment, leadership, and adaptability. These are skills no algorithm can fully replicate. And when paired with technological fluency, they become unstoppable. The future is not about competing with AI. It's about collaborating with it, using it as a partner to amplify your strengths. Those who master this partnership will not only survive the wave of change, they'll ride it to places the rest of us can barely imagine.